Orange County candidates being unfairly kept in the dark about their petition statuses? And what does this mean for the integrity of our local elections? Welcome to another episode of You Can't Make This Shit Up. Several candidates have, excuse me. Let me tell you, I'm your host, Joel Oxley. This is your host, David Washington. I'm just so excited about getting into this one. I want to start quickly. Well, several candidates have expressed frustration with the Orange County Elections Office under the interim supervisor, Glen Gilzean. They're alleging that they were left uninformed about the validity of their petition signatures until after crucial deadlines forcing some having to pay hefty filing fees. Gilzean, appointed by Governor DeSantis, pledged transparency, but has not addressed these complaints publicly. This has sparked a little bit of concern, David, about the fairness and efficiency of the election process under his administration.
I've been waiting to comment on this for a while now, and I have to say that the article by Steve Lemongello is at best disingenuous, at worst crappy reporting. And how do I know that? It's because I have intimate knowledge. Here at JW, we have intimate knowledge of how this article transpired, and the individuals interviewed in this particular article, we have intimate, to some extent or another, knowledge of the individual candidates in their campaigns. And so, knowing what we know, knowing what I know, and also having the conversation, not just with the supervisor, Glen Gilzean, but also with his staff and how helpful they have been to J&W, and particularly, in full disclosure, transparency, Kelly Simrod for Orange County Commissioner District 5 campaigns. We are their campaign team, consultants. It was just really disappointing to see this hit piece, and I'm calling it as I see it. It's a hit piece on the new supervisor of elections, Glen Gilzean.
Well, David, this is the issue I have. As a conservative and very tied to the community, I know Supervisor Gilzean very well. I'm going to be, full disclosure. I'm a fan. I'm a fan with the things that he's done.
Mm-hmm.
I like what he did with Urban League. I like what he's done for the governor in each one of his appointments. But now let me step back. I also have an issue that because he's been getting good publicity, because he's actually taking action, he's done some really huge moves to make things transparent. He's like, wait a minute. So we're already watching this process. We're already watching this process. We have it on camera. Why don't we share that camera and stream it live for the public to see? Okay, that was a simple fix, but he saw it and he reacted. He's trying to do the best job. He's getting good publicity with, some of the news media. So Lemongello, who cannot stand, and I'm going to say this very clearly, cannot stand Republicans and will every single time make a hit piece when he has an opportunity. And this just is a perfect example of why he's not the reporter that we need covering our politics. This was a hit piece. This was to say, look, if I can find something negative, I'm going to find it and I'm going to hit him with it. And everything in that article basically says, he did this and this, and he didn't. He didn't change the process one bit. It's just the process was frustrating for some people.
I know in the past I pushed back on your comments on Limongello, and I've always been the one to say, give him a chance, give him a chance, And I saw your point of view, and your point of view again was proven with this article. My trust in the Orlando Sentinel doing the right reporting has been greatly diminished in the last year, particularly with this particular article, and then also some of their endorsements that they've made, and just the reporting just doesn't seem complete. Now, to talk about this specific issue, petition collecting and the processing of these petitions for certification and qualifying, you and I have been doing this for quite some time. We understand the protocol. And it just takes a phone call, establishing relationships at the supervisor of elections, whether it's Orange County, Osceola County, Seminole County. The process has not changed from the previous supervisor of elections here in Orange County, Supervisor Bill Cowles.
It's true.
My first time, Joel, when I ran a campaign here in Orange County, my first time collecting petitions, I was blindsided. We were blindsided. And I couldn't say that. We failed to ask the right questions when we were at the supervisor of elections submitting petitions, et cetera, et cetera. We did not ask the right questions. We did not read the protocols.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, starting here in Florida, understanding the laws, the regulations, it's new. However, as we move, 9 years later, I understand what the protocols are. I understand what the rules are. And shame on former president or former chair of the Orange County Democrats, Wes Hodge, for his comments in this particular article, because he was the chair of the Orange County Democrats for years. And if he didn't understand the protocol for submitting petitions,
Well,
and
David, I'm
certification,
sorry. He's a scientist now. I mean, he's a scientist. I
oh,
mean, I thought he was. I
his
thought
test,
he did a experiment, like
his
not just a test. He said he did an experiment. You got to read this article because, like, look, Wes is a scientist. He did an experiment, and he wanted to make sure that if it was going to work or not. So he already figured it wasn't going to work, so he quit.
Right.
That means he's a quitter. So, guys, I'm telling you, if he actually qualifies, I'm telling you, Democrats, you may not want to vote for your man because he's a quitter. I'm sorry, I have to say it like I am.
The former chair of the Orange County Democrats. He's a candidate now for supervisor elections, so we kind of see his angle here. But come on, Nate Douglas, he's running for state house against incumbent Susie Placencia, and I remember having the conversation with Nate and his team, and saying, "Hey, you need to get on top of your petition gathering. It looks like you are with all the social media posts and things like that." And he comes up 200 short. And I'm like, but because, he wasn't aware. I said, but we've had that conversation.
David, we actually got an individual on the ballot through petitions during COVID. That was Prater.
Mm-hmm. Rob Prather. Yep.
And it's
Only
like,
one.
okay, so you telling me process hasn't changed. There were adjustments in the process for that thing, but it was
Right.
even more
Right.
difficult to get those petitions. But Robert Prater did everything he could when he was going to run against Carlos Guillermo Smith. And guess what? We understand the process. So we're looking at this article going, really?
Right.
Like, this is just this. You cannot make this shit up. Like, this is
one of those moments.
crying over spilt milk. This is, just I don't know. Listen, if your grapes are if your grapes are not sweet, make wine, people. Make something really, you got to take and test it. You got to make sure you call. You got to make sure that you're proactive. If you're sitting back thinking they're going to call you up and say, "Hey, you're still a few more short." Listen, you're paying that 10 cents. You're paying that 10 cents
Right.
no matter if it's good signature or bad signature.
Right.
So
You're gonna
you
pay.
might as well be paying attention. Just give the supervisor of elections a call. They'll put you in touch with the right person, and that person will say, "Oh, just give me a moment." Or they'll say, "Let me email you."
Mhm. We had Seth Hyman here on our show,
Mhm.
interviewed him. We talked to him numerous times. We talked about his campaign numerous times. That we understood that he had folks from out of state managing his campaigns, and we were kind of, questioning that because all campaigns are local, especially local campaigns.
Mhm.
And Seth had something to say about this process and not being aware that he needs to have his petitions in at a certain time so that they can be counted prior to the actual qualifying date. And I when I read what he had to say, I just kind of remember our conversations here, right
Mhm.
here with him, about having the right team.
Wait a minute, David. Hey, here it is. What testimonials do you have?
I got one right now, Seth. Come on, Seth. Right here.
I
Right
I
here.
love that
Seth.
question. I love that question. What testimonials do you have? Look, if you're going to take the most challenging, if you're going to take the most challenging uh, individuals and you're going to make them competitive, those are wins too. You know, it's not about who you're winning; it's who you know. And we know
Relationships.
everybody. We know everybody, and we have no problem having a conversation with everybody because we're not vitriol. We're trying to get answers. Look, what I said about Wes is a good guy. Don't get me wrong. I can have fun with him. He and I have had conversations, but what he did, I'm going to comment about. And yeah, I expect him to do the same about
Right.
me. But that's because we have that a relationship where we can have these conversations because we aren't in vitriol mode. We're not in, okay, I want to destroy you. Now, once he wants to destroy me, then I will retaliate. But that's a
Right.
last resort.
If we're able to dish it out, we should be able to take it. If there's honest conversation, if we're having an honest conversation about it. And let me speak to our client Kelly Simrad. It at first with Seth, it broke my heart, just to see his comments after all the conversations we had with him, and it broke my heart even more, seeing Kelly, say what she said because I was on the phone with the supervisor of the elections office. There was a surrogate working for Kelly and the campaign, also on the phone almost daily, just keeping track of our progress and the
Mhm.
progress of other candidates. And so I know that supervisor of elections, Glen Gilzean's office has been phenomenal in the communication that was
Mhm.
afforded us. And it's just a matter of, again, it was just a phone call and consistency. And more important, as we speak about often, relationships.
Mhm. Dave, my final word is look, when you're reading these articles, and I'm not turning against the Sentinel. I have my issues with the Sentinel, but when you read these articles, try to put into perspective. If you don't know what's going on, just question just a little bit. Just question how can it be that bad when he just got two notifications, two really good, things that he just did. That you can't have so much pro and then it's something this bad.
Mhm.
Uh, to me, I just question how negative this went. So, guys, do your own research. It's not about feelings, it's about facts. And the facts, if you know them, are a lot different than what this article really portrays.
Indeed. I can't agree more. You hit the nail on the head. My faith in journalism has gone down a couple of notches after this article and other things. It's just a combination of other things. I do want to say again, I repeat what I said at County Watch in May when Supervisor Gilzean presented to the membership. You're doing a great job considering the circumstances. And on behalf of County Watch, I encourage people to sign up with County Watch. We are going to have a tour of the Supervisor of Elections office on Flag Day, June 14th at 3 o'clock. So to be a part of that tour, please go to the County Watch website and contact us, email us, let us know that you want to be a part of that tour, pay your $20 membership fee, either on the day of the tour or contact us so we can arrange that. But it's an opportunity to be more involved in the transparency that the Supervisor of Elections office is providing. All of the people that we mentioned in this particular episode have been tagged, and we welcome their input, their comments. And again, Joel has hit the nail on the head. It's taken me a week to come off that ledge. I'm still going to do a David Washington show on this. That'll be a little bit more emotional. I think that's going to get me in trouble.
Bring your facts, not your feelings, David. And let's make sure that that David Washington show is great. You're watching You Can't Make This Shit Up. Make sure you like, make sure you share. And guess what? Get your facts together and join us